Those years in quest of honor mine. Chapter 38. Zhongyuan was so scared he started stuttering. No, no, I'll do it myself. Yushi's expression was as cold as ice. He stubbornly asked, "Where are your clean undergarments?" Zhongyuan noticed that something about Yushi felt off. The other seemed like he was crazy with anger, or perhaps intoxicated. But there wasn't even a hint of alcohol emanating from his body. Could it be that he was having a fit again? But there should be nothing that could pushed him to this state recently, right? Looking at his countenance. It seems like I'm the one to blame. Zhongyuan wanted Yushi to stop acting improperly, but when faced with Yushi's gaze, he couldn't get a single word out. Zhongyuan pressed his dry lips together slightly and pointed at the drawer off to the side. In the first drawer. Yushi stood up, opened the drawer, and paused for a moment. Then, he took out the clean undergarments. Zhongyuan leaned back against his pillow. He gazed at Yushi, who was standing at the foot of the bed. His heart started beating a little faster. Was Yushi going to undress him? No matter how carefully Yushi had personally taken care of him in the past, that had all happened while he was unconscious. Zhongyuan didn't have any memories regarding it. Now, both of them were wide awake. If he were to allow Yushi to do so, what if the same thing that had happened last time happened again? On the other side, Yushi held the thin undergarments in his hands tightly. The angry air surrounding him lessened. Right now, Yushi's thoughts became organized. He understood that it wasn't that Zhongyuan didn't want to visit him, but that he was sick and physically couldn't. His gaze became slightly gentler. He looked down at the clothes in his hands, and, as if just awakening from a dream, he paused. It didn't seem right to continue, or to stop. Zhongyuan knew that he had regained his wits upon seeing his gaze. He actually felt a bit regretful regarding this. He coughed. All right. Give them to me. Yushi furrowed his brows. Ignoring Zhongyuan, he scanned the drawer and took something else out. Zhongyuan couldn't get a good look at what it was. Zhongyuan stared at Yushi nervously. He watched him approach. After a moment of eye contact, Yushi threw the undergarments onto the bed. He was holding something else in his hands. Zhongyuan turned to look at it. It was one of his hair ribbons. Zhongyuan was lost. Was Yushi going to brush his hair too? Without waiting for Zhongyuan to say something, Yushi lifted his hands and used Zhongyuan's hair ribbon to cover his own eyes. Zhongyuan. Young Prince Yu was truly determined not to see anything improper. Now that he could not see, Yushi's movements became much slower. He slightly leaned forward, carefully feeling along the blankets. When his fingertips brushed against the corner of the blanket, he tugged it lower. There was a different kind of handsomeness associated with the blindfolded Yushi. Zhongyuan's face became faintly flushed. He cleared his throat and asked in a low voice, Yushi-zi. Since you can't see, aren't you scared of touching something you shouldn't? Upon hearing this, Yushi halted temporarily. He furrowed his brows and warned, I won't if you don't move around much. Zhongyuan leaned back against his pillow. He nodded with difficulty. All right. Yushi lifted a hand and tentatively felt Zhongyuan's shoulder. His fingertips traveled down Zhongyuan's collar, removing Zhongyuan's outer garment. Yushi set the outer garment off to the side and slightly tilted his head, almost as if trying to remember where Zhongyuan's collar had been. Zhongyuan stared at Yushi, who was barely 2 chi away from him. The jut in his throat bobbed up and down. Zhongyuan didn't dare to move at all. He watched as Yushi lifted his hand with covered eyes and undid the first button on the collar. Zhongyuan couldn't take it anymore, so he closed his eyes, too. But after he did this, his thoughts ran even wilder. Yushi's movements were very gentle. Zhongyuan could only hear faint rustling sounds and Yushi's light breathing. He could also feel Yushi's slightly cold fingertips. Zhongyuan furrowed his brows in discomfort. He tried his best to make himself think of a different topic. With clenched teeth, he suddenly thought of something. What came out of his mouth was, "Did you change my clothes like this back then, too?" Zhongyuan felt Yushi freeze. Zhongyuan was in disbelief. That was for half a month continuously. You have this much self-restraint. Yushi didn't answer. He threw Zhongyuan's sweat-soaked clothes off to the side and covered him up with the blankets. Then, he reached for the clean garments and reached both hands into the blankets. His actions actually seemed somewhat well practiced. Zhongyuan pressed his lips together. He closed his eyes and whispered, "At that time, did I stay still?" Yushi remained silent once more. Zhongyuan did his best to ignore Yushi, trying his best to start a conversation. He stuttered out again, "Then when you wiped me off." Zhongyuan heard Yushi impatiently saying by his ear, "Shut up." Zhongyuan shut up. For a moment, he felt a bit impulsive. Should he purposefully move around? That way, he could make Yushi touch something he shouldn't. Never mind. Yushi might chop him into bits. A short time period later, Yushi finished changing Zhongyuan's inner garments. He stood up and sat in a chair off to the side. After, he took off the hair ribbon covering his eyes. He exhaled deeply. Zhongyuan did his best to act unaffected. Thank you." With a dark expression, Yushi said, "It's nothing. I'm leaving." Zhongyuan was bewildered. Leaving already? He was still in a daze, but didn't forget to say, "Take the pastries on the table with you." Yushi paused. Zhongyuan thought that he had misunderstood, so he hurriedly added, "These aren't the ones you returned last time. I had Kungzin make new ones. They should still be warm." Yushi's pupils trembled. He picked up the pastries and left. By the time everything was over, Zhongyuan still hadn't figured out why Yushi had made the strip. What's in Yushi's heart was as difficult to find as a needle at the bottom of the ocean, too difficult to understand. Zhongyuan's illness had originally been half cured. The day Yushi came, he broke out in sweat twice, which completely broke his fever. The next day, he recovered entirely. After returning to health, Zhongyuan started worrying about the pulse record that was still with Xianqiang again. The pulse record that detailed Princess Royal Angguo had become pregnant in the 6th month of the 47th year of Emperor Taiyu's rule. It wouldn't be difficult leaking out the news that Xianqiang was hiding mausoleum servants. After all, those were 3 living, breathing humans. Xianqiang wouldn't be able to deny anything. The pulse record was different, though. It could be placed anywhere. As long as Xianqiang refused to admit anything, nobody would be able to condemn him. The same plan wouldn't work twice. After several days, Zhongyuan found one of the old imperial preceptors she had left for him, the imperial court scribe of the previous ruling emperor, Tang Ming. Tang Ming had once been old imperial preceptor Shi's student too. Technically, he was Zhongyuan's shikshan from the same mentor. Only, Tang Ming had already retired for many years. Thus, Zhongyuan hadn't had a clue that he had such a shikshan. After doing his research, Zhongyuan finally learned that Tang Ming had been the previous emperor's imperial court scribe for 12 years. After His Majesty had ascended to the throne, Tang Ming had very conscientiously quit and disappeared from sight. Tang Ming had no wife or children. He wasn't in contact with anyone. Finding him took Zhongyuan quite a bit of work. In the end, he still asked Lin Si for help. Finally, he discovered that Tang Ming was currently living out the rest of his years in a manor on the outskirts of the capital. Zhongyuan didn't dare to waste any more time. That same day, he left the city. It took half a day of travel for him to reach his destination. For several consecutive days, Zhongyuan had been greeted with shut doors. He had already prepared himself to be left outside again. Unexpectedly, this time, he was politely invited into Tang Ming's manor as soon as he announced his name. Tang Ming himself wasn't as unsociable or eccentric as Zhongwan had thought he would be. Instead, he seemed like a content and well-adjusted recluse. He had already passed 60 this year, but he remained very alert. Upon seeing Zhongwan, he said with a smile, "You must be Gui Yuan." Zhongwan hurriedly acknowledged this. He didn't dare to think of himself as this person's Shidi, so knelt and greeted him as a junior would. Tang Ming helped Zhongwan up with a smile, then led him inside. "Teacher mentioned you a few times. I've long since wanted to get to know you, but it's inconvenient for me to appear too often." Tang Ming personally prepared tea for Zhongwan. "Please." Zhongwan sat with his knees tucked under himself. They exchanged pleasantries. Tang Ming gently said, "There must be something you want to ask since you're here to see me." Though this was his actual Shikshan and also someone old imperial preceptor she had left for him, this was only their first meeting. Zhongwan didn't dare to completely trust the other. After a brief thought, he chose a comparatively unimportant question. "I wanted to ask Shikshan, is Royal Princess Angguo easy to get along with?" Tang Ming didn't understand. "Why do you ask that?" "To be honest," Zhongwan started, "I've encountered a difficult situation that I can't resolve by myself. I want to borrow Royal Princess Angguo's hand." Tang Ming was quiet for a moment. He smiled. "Whether or not she's easy to get along with depends on the situation." Tang Ming seemed to notice Zhongwan's hesitation. He slowly stated, "Royal Princess Angguo is His Majesty's younger sister and also His Majesty's only sibling. She has Prince Yu as a husband as well. Even considering those that lived during the previous emperor's rule, there isn't another princess as honorable or powerful as her. Such a person naturally can't be fooled so easily, not to mention." Tang Ming's voice became a few decibels softer. He smiled. "Not to mention, she's currently helping His Majesty raise an imperial prince." Zhongwan's expression instantly changed. Tang Ming gave Zhongwan a placating look. He kindly said, "There's no need to become panicked, Shidi. Since Shifu told me to look after you before his passing, I naturally won't hide anything from you. Some things I had already known during my time as an imperial court scribe. Others were things that Shifu told me prior to his death. If you want to know anything now, as long as I have an answer, I will share my knowledge with you." Zhongwan had spent several days visiting old acquaintances. This was his first time seeing someone so open. He temporarily didn't know how to react. Zhongwan still didn't dare to say too much. He responded with a question. Shikshan said just now that Royal Princess Angguo is currently raising an imperial prince for His Majesty. Regarding this, please be more detailed." Tang Ming took a good, long look at Zhongwan. The words didn't need to be spoken. "You don't trust me." Zhongwan pretended he didn't notice. This was related to Yushi. He couldn't afford not be careful. Tang Ming was unbothered. While brewing tea, he said, "This story begins during the previous emperor's rule. Back when His Majesty was still a prince, his eldest son and second son both died, one after the other. The third son that he managed to keep alive, with much difficulty, was extremely weak as well. He would fall over as soon as the wind blew. The imperial doctors all said that he didn't have long to live. During that time, the previous emperor was extremely worried about His Majesty, worried that he would be fated to not have sons or grandsons. The reason the previous emperor hesitated and didn't declare a crown prince for a long time was also because of this." Zhongwan froze. This was the first time he was hearing this. At that time, His Majesty was already 34. He only had one sickly son under his name. The previous emperor was anxious for him, His Majesty was also anxious for himself. That child, Tang Ming paused, then continued, was conceived during that time. I don't actually know who that child's biological mother is. I can only guess that her identity must be somewhat special. Tang Ming looked up at Zhongwan. Do you know who she is? Zhongwan shook his head. No. I really don't know. It's not that I refuse to say. Tang Ming smiled. No matter. Shidi, first listen to me say this. Think about it, Shidi. Disregarding everything else, if you were His Majesty, already 30-something, and had finally managed to conceive a child that might be a son, would you keep it? Zhongwan furrowed his eyebrows and nodded. But how? The water started boiling. Tang Ming put out the fire. Since the child's birth mother could not be known by others, they needed to find him someone with an identity that could pose as his mother. His Majesty couldn't trust anyone else, so he thought of his younger, blood sister. Zhongwan said in a low voice, this is exactly the part that I don't understand. If His Majesty really viewed that child as important, even if he couldn't allow the birth mother to be seen, he could always give the child to any other consort to raise. Why? This answer comes in two parts, Tang Ming slowly started. First, at the time, there were already rumors that the second prince, who is the current emperor, couldn't keep his children alive. His Majesty probably somewhat believed it too, so he didn't dare to have the child remain under his name. Naturally, this supernatural reason is a bit unbelievable. The most important thing was. Tang Ming poured a cup of tea for Zhongwan, then he continued, His Majesty already had intentions to fight for the throne. His Majesty is someone who looks 3 steps ahead for every step he takes. With this move, he was planning for his future. Zhongwan accepted the teacup. He furrowed his brows. Royal Princess Angguo had already married Prince Yu at the time. Prince Yu's estate supported him. What else did he need to plan for? No. Back then, though His Majesty wasn't the crown prince yet, he already had complete confidence that he would be. His plans weren't to gain the support of Prince Yu's estate anymore. Instead, Tang Ming lowered his voice, how to take back this prince of a different surname's title. Tang Ming held his hands out. Shidi is knowledgeable about all the past and present texts, so naturally would know that princes of different surnames are only named when the nation is unstable and the imperial family doesn't have enough power. As soon as the emperor can stand on his own 2 feet, isn't his first order of business to kill those who have made great achievements? To have kept the title for so long, old Prince Yu and the current Prince Yu are both smart people. This has already been quite difficult. Something dark flashed through Zhongwan's eyes. He ground his teeth. Prince Yu isn't an idiot. Prince Yu obviously isn't an idiot, but he had already married Royal Princess Angguo many years ago. All his power and wealth had long since been placed on the bet that was the second prince, no, the current emperor, I mean. By this time, he could no longer back out. Tang Ming smiled. This is an emperor. Tang Ming added, naturally, His Majesty is mellow in his actions. Just that same year, he gifted Prince Yu 2 noble consorts. Zhongwan thought back on all the times he had interacted with Emperor Chang'an in these past years. He broke out in cold sweat. Zhongwan lowered his voice to say, after being tricked like this by His Majesty, there's no guarantee that Prince Yu doesn't feel hateful. These years. Perhaps he has long since created his own plan. Naturally. Tang Ming nodded. But they will continue acting like they get along. As long as. Zhongwan clenched his teeth. As long as Yu Shi, the chess piece that keeps them both in check, is still alive. Tang Ming observed Zhongwan's expression. After a brief silence, he chuckled. With Shidi's current state. I daren't say any more. Zhongwan controlled his expression. He lowered his head and said, Shikshan, please continue. Shidi asked about Royal Princess Angguo, so I'll stick to talking about the princess, Tang Ming drawled out. You already know about the events of the past, so definitely must understand that Royal Princess Angguo's situation was very tricky. However, Royal Princess Angguo was born into the imperial clan, so she learned quite early on that father and brother were the most important. Her entire life needed to be dedicated to the throne first and foremost. So, when His Majesty told her to adopt this child, Royal Princess Angwo was extremely unwilling but still did so. After all, at that time, she had just lost her own child. And, the imperial doctor had said that she would no longer be able to become pregnant. Zhonwan softly said, "In my youth, I once spent time with Yushi for half a year. I could tell." Royal Princess Angwo truly doted on him. Doted? Tang Ming shook his head and smiled. He stated, "By then, I had already quit being an official for many years. I don't dare to speak of the specifics. But later on, Shifu told me one thing." "Does she want to hear?" Zhonwan said, "Naturally." "Shikshan, please continue." Tang Ming said, "According to rumors, young Prince Yu's temperament suddenly changed 6 years ago. Does she know why?" Zhonwan shook his head. "I'm unsure. At that time, I had already headed to Qianan. I can only guess that he found out the truth about his own identity then." Tang Ming asked, "Why did he find out?" Zhonwan froze. "This. I believe he looked into it." Tang Ming asked again, "So why did young Prince Yu suddenly decide to look into it?" Zhonwan had no answer. Tang Ming sighed. "This is what Shifu told me. Shifu said that one day, for some unknown reason, Royal Princess Angwo suddenly refused to see young Prince Yu for several days. Later on, she unwillingly saw him. And, during a disagreement, she slapped young Prince Yu across the face. She even punished him to kneel in the ancestral hall for many consecutive days." Zhonwan was speechless and in disbelief. "The royal princess punished Yushi? Why?" Tang Ming sighed again. "Because someone told the royal princess that the child she had been pregnant with that year hadn't been lost because of her poor health. Instead, there had been a ploy created by His Majesty to cause her to miscarry." With a snap, Zhonwan shattered the teacup in his grasp with his bare hands. The porcelain stabbed his palm. Zhonwan closed his eyes. The blood streamed down the lines along his palm. "Sui Yu." Tang Ming suffered a great fright. He rushed to help bandage Zhonwan up, but Zhonwan only clenched his teeth tightly together. A pause later, he said, "Please don't worry about this. I'd like to ask Shikshan to go into detail." Tang Ming lamented, Royal Princess had doted on young Prince Yu so much before that. With such a sudden change in attitude, young Prince Yu would definitely feel panicked and confused. Since his birth, the rumors about his identity had never ceased. Young Prince Yu thought of this too. So, he decided to find out the truth. Zhonwan inhaled deeply. His face was ashen pale. Was Royal Princess child truly? Tang Ming gasped sharply. He shook his head and said, "No. The worst thing is, all of this had only been someone's trap. The Royal Princess child had truly been lost because of an accident, but after Royal Princess Angwo finally got to the bottom of this case and realized everything. Paper could no longer contain the fire. Young Prince Yu had already learned the whole truth." Zhonwan squeezed the pieces of porcelain in his hand tightly. He felt like all his organs had switched places. Zhonwan suffered silently. After a long time, he finally recovered slightly. When he was leaving the manor, a sudden thought struck Zhonwan. He abruptly asked Tang Ming, "All the past events that Shikshan shared with me were focused on Sui Yu, as if you knew I came here for him." "Shikshan? How could you have such a clear grasp on my thoughts?" Tang Ming looked exasperated. "She still doesn't trust me. But today, I did all the talking. You didn't reveal even half a secret. What are you scared of?" Zhonwan's eyes were dark. "With matters relating to Sui Yu, I cannot afford to be not cautious. This is our first time meeting. It's reasonable that you would still be suspicious about me. Tang Ming was completely uncaring of how guarded Zhongwan was. He said, "As for why I knew you came for young Prince Yu's sake, it's because Shifu once told me." Zhongwan was on high alert. What did he say? Tang Ming smiled faintly. Because Shifu once told me that back in the day, when you still attended lessons in the palace with the prince of Prince Jianan's estate, you cared nothing for matters outside of academia. You were proud and arrogant, disdainful of getting caught up with anyone else. Except, you would occasionally blank out and only stare at Sui Yu. End chapter. Those years in quest of honor mine. Chapter 39. After many years of suffering, Zhongwan originally thought he had become immune to such things since long ago. But today, when his guard was down, he cut his hand with porcelain shards, and the shikshan he met earlier had, in one sentence, pierced his heart. Zhongwan stood in the cold winds of the start of spring, pressing the sore area in his chest where his lungs sat. Smiling in a mocking manner to himself, he said, "Shikshan, don't say a thing if it's already obvious." Tang Ming also smiled. And then sighed. "I didn't want to say anything at the start and just play along, but all this while, you've been wary of me. There's no harm in Shidi guarding against me. However, it's best not to delay your own matters." Zhongwan used the carriage for support as he adjusted his breathing. In a low voice, he said, "So Imperial Preceptor had long since. At his old age, what could Shifu have not seen before? After instructing you for many years, what could he not see through? He merely kept quiet." Tang Ming sighed. "Since we're already talking about this, I won't stand on ceremony and say a little more, all right." Having been exposed, Zhongwan did not have anything to hide anymore. "May Shikshan speak. These words were actually those that Shifu entrusted me to say, as I watch over you to the best of my ability." A long while passed before Tang Ming continued, "These words require me to start from the beginning. You should know that the day you were put in prison, Shifu wanted to redeem you." Zhongwan said in a hoarse voice, "Didn't Imperial Preceptor care about his reputation? Why would Shifu care about that? Moreover, you were Shifu's last disciple. Who in this world didn't know that? Shifu planned out a great strategy to do it." Unfortunately, Tang Ming was left speechless for a moment. For the past many years, he had been poor, and his family as well. He couldn't compete with the extremely wealthy young Prince Yu. Zhongwan couldn't help but lower his head and smile. Tang Ming sighed once more. To have his other disciple slap his face with gold angered him to the extreme that day. "Shifu knew your intention. He watched as young Prince Yu redeemed you and feared that it was the mysterious and inexorable will of the heavens. And he stopped interfering. Later on, Prince Ning's matters had been settled. Prince Ning's children were sent to Jianan. Originally, Shifu thought that nothing else would happen. Every side had received their outcome. Afterward, everyone's fate would come from one's hands. Never had he imagined." Tang Ming's gaze fell upon Zhongwan. A sigh escaped his lips. "Never had he imagined that you would ran away. Because he knew your intention, after he heard that you ran away, Shifu felt even more pity for you." Tang Ming's gaze was complicated. "Shidi is loyal and righteous. Shikshan admires this." Shifu was also clear on that fact. "Shidi, why didn't you think that when you left for Jianan that day, it was evident you would not return? On his deathbed, why did Shifu not only miss you this much but also arrange these things for you?" Tang Ming said in a soft voice, "Shifu had long since realized that there was someone you could not let go of, and would return sooner or later." Zhongwan turned his head to the side. All of a sudden, the wind blew his eyes red. Voice dry and rough, Zhongwan said, "It's me that was useless. Imperial Preceptor had worked out a strategy for me up until now, yet I never returned to send him off." "I." "How could you have returned?" consoled Tang Ming. "His body had been unhealthy all along. He passed in his sleep without pain. To live 1 year longer than the sage Confucius should be considered dying in old age. Zhongyuan nodded. He bowed to pay respects. He reluctantly boarded the carriage. After he let go of the curtain, he sat with his back straight for 2 hours before relaxing his posture. Zhongyuan reclined into his seat. He used a lot of energy to reach out and pull his cloak over to himself. He covered his face with it. After the carriage drove for another hour, Zhongyuan gradually relaxed. He wiped his face. Expended a lot of energy to sit up. He rubbed at his sore shoulders and fell into a daze, not a word leaving his lips. If what Tang Ming had said was true, then many things made sense, such as why, no matter what Yushi did, Emperor Chang'an and Prince Yu tried their best to protect him. Why young Yushi suddenly grew suspicious of his own background. Why Princess Royal indulged him so much back then. She had felt guilty. At the start, Zhongyuan thought to borrow Royal Princess Angguo's power, but now, it seemed like it couldn't be done. Back then, just who arranged for all of this? After Royal Princess Angguo realized she would not have a child, she agreed to recognize Yushi as her own son. For the Royal Princess Angguo of that time, that transaction was not disadvantageous. If in the future Yushi seemed like he could succeed the throne, then he would remember her as his aunt and the mother who raised him to adulthood. Yushi would definitely respect her and would guarantee her supreme honor and glory. Even if Yushi could not ascend the throne, he would still inherit the position of prince and the Prince Yu's estate. In short, Royal Princess Angguo would never have her own son, but she also wouldn't have to give up the prince title to any of her illegitimate sons. So, why not let her blood-related nephew inherit the position? For this reason, when she had pampered Yushi back in those years, she was probably sincere. She wholeheartedly considered Yushi as her own son. It wasn't until someone harboring ill intentions who told her that when she became pregnant in June during the 47th year of the Taiyu era, it was her blood-related elder brother, Emperor Chang'an, who schemed to have her miscarry. One would fear that on that day, Royal Princess Angguo might have even wanted to commit regicide. However, she could not do anything to Emperor Chang'an. Therefore, she placed the full extent of her hatred on the then 16 years old Yushi. What's most hopeless about it was that the whole thing was fake. There was only a tiny bit of leeway. After Royal Princess Angguo calmed down, she was able to discover this bit of truth. Ever since the relationship between Royal Princess Angguo and Yushi had a rift, there was no one in the world who was somewhat sincere toward him. The person who first poisoned her with those thoughts had started their plan like this, their intentions so evil, even others could not imagine them. On that day, when Royal Princess Angguo, a person Yushi always depended on, suddenly treated him coldly and punished him to kneel at the ancestral hall of Prince Yu's estate, what went through his mind? Wasn't that akin to the sky falling? As Zhongyuan thought this, his chest hurt. He drew his brows tightly together, forcing himself not to think of this. How did Imperial Preceptor Shi see through all of this? Pressing a hand to his chest, Zhongyuan said to himself, for so many years I have stopped myself from acting on my emotion to keep up propriety. If on that day, I couldn't continue living in Qianan, I would absolutely not say those things aloud. Zhongyuan believed he was able to hide it well. Especially before Prince Ning encountered mishap, he was in a daze toward those things. How could Imperial Preceptor not know? There were many things he could not recall. All of a sudden, he remembered something of note. Back then, when he studied with others, there was a time when Zhongyuan was muddle-headed and forgot that Imperial Preceptor Shi wanted him to practice his calligraphy. And he did not tell the people in the study to prepare a large brush in advance for Xian Rui and himself. Zhongyuan had been careless, and said he would be Xian Rui's reading partner. Usually, it was Xian Rui who reminded him of what they had to do, but on that day, they both forgot. Left with no options, Zhongyuan went to ask for forgiveness from Imperial Preceptor Shi, wanting to borrow his brushes. Imperial preceptor Shi had always cared about Zhongwan and had lent him paper and brushes in the past. Originally, Zhongwan found no harm in asking him. Who would have known that on that day, Imperial preceptor Shi would be furious. He reprimanded Zhongwan for being careless with his work. He not only refused to lend him brushes and paper, but also Zhongwan could not bear to remember. After Imperial preceptor scolded him for a long time, he told him to borrow from Yushi. Dizzy from being scolded, he actually shamelessly went to borrow the items from Yushi. This was the first time Zhongwan took the initiative to talk to Yushi. Contrary to expectation, Yushi had a good temperament. After being slightly startled, he lent his brushes to Zhongwan. Looking back now, Imperial preceptor Shi was too naughty. Just before the night curfew, as the curfew warning drum sounded, he returned to the estate. After that, he called for a servant, ordering them to investigate Tang Ming first. Tang Ming indeed was his senior disciple of the same mentor. The words he spoke were all reasonable. However, Zhongwan still could not completely trust him. He felt that someone who was the imperial court scribe of the previous emperor for more than 10 years could not be simple. Investigating Tang Ming was easier than investigating Yushi. Zhongwan's people sent him a letter the next day. From start to finish, Zhongwan read the records of Tang Ming's life. Everything was clean. There was nothing odd about them. He did not have a reason to cater to Prince Yu's estate or Xianzheng. Once again, Zhongwan picked up Tang Ming's complicated and very tricky genealogical record. And after reading over it, he suddenly found something fishy. Tang Ming's birth mother had a surname of Zhong. Zhongwan was speechless. Could Tang Ming be related to him? There were many people with the surname of Zhong in the royal capital. Zhongwan was unsure. Moreover, Zhongwan was from the side branch of the Zhong clan. Even if Tang Ming's mother was from the Zhong clan, he could not be certain he was related to that elderly lady. Just because of this familial connection that was separated by 5 degrees, would Tang Ming really look after Zhongwan? Or was it because imperial preceptor Shi had entrusted that task to Tang Ming? Zhongwan burned the few sheets of papers in his hand in a candle's flame, falling into a daze. Although he did not dare to completely trust Tang Ming, Zhongwan believed about 70 to 80% of his words. Once again, Zhongwan felt like seeing Yushi. Unfortunately, as he tended to the injury on his right hand, he was angry to the point of grinding his teeth. There's still 6 days left. However, tomorrow would be the start of Xianjin's 5th 7-day set. He might encounter him. On the first day of the 5th 7-day set, Zhongwan and the others arrived at Third Prince's estate early in the morning. The moment they entered the estate, they came across Royal Princess Angguo. And Yushi was following behind her. In the past weeks, Xianyu had met Princess Royal Angguo a few times. He had always been quick-witted. Now, he didn't need anyone to tell him to perform a ceremony of paying respects in a composed manner. Royal Princess Angguo took good care of her health. As a result, she only looked to be in her 40s. Her identity was noble. Someone with the status of Xian Rui would never enter her attention. However, she would not slight him. The corners of her lips curved. She allowed Xianyu to stand. Her words and intonation were unhurried, distinctive of those of high-ranking and distinguished people. She slowly asked him if he was cold, if he had been tired these past few days. Xianyu replied appropriately. Royal Princess Angguo nodded and took her time saying, "Her Highness Imperial Consort Xian misses Third Prince dearly. At present, she is still in tears. Don't go inside yet to kowtow, otherwise both parties will not appear decent. It's already the 5th 7-day set. The day the unfortunate person returns. So let her cry to her heart's content." Royal Princess Angguo seemed exhausted. She had taken care of Imperial Consort Xian for many days. In the beginning, she could still cry a little, but after a while, she had long since grown annoyed of it. Just now, Imperial Consort Xian went mad, crying to the point where her hair went into disarray and her clothes grew disorderly. Royal Princess Angguo did not bother consoling her and impatiently led Yushi outside. As Xianyu replied to her questions, Zhongyuan stood behind him. Naturally, Royal Princess Angguo did not so much as glance at him. She only treated him as a regular servant. Zhongyuan also did not pay attention to Royal Princess Angguo. His focus was on Yushi. Just now, the two met gazes. In a flash, they looked away. But Zhongyuan was still able to guess what Yushi was thinking. 5 more days. Don't look too much. Still standing behind Xianyu, Zhongyuan lowered his head. The corners of his lips tilted up a little. Inside, Imperial Consort Xian's sobs grew more and more miserable. Everyone waited outside in the morning hall. Royal Princess Angguo said in a soft voice, "Word has it that you slept early for the past few days." Royal Princess Angguo's voice had become more amiable. It was evident she was talking to Yushi. Zhongyuan kept his head down. He only heard Yushi grunt in acknowledgement in a careless manner. "That's very good. You also have to pay attention to what you eat and eat healthily." She smiled. "I heard that the other day, you suddenly wanted to eat pastries. I had people come up with some new flavor. They have already been sent to you a while ago. Once we return, remember to eat them." Annoyance flashed through Yushi's eyes. Quick as lightning, he glanced at Zhongyuan. He furrowed his brows. "Who said that? I don't want to eat them." The smile on Princess Royal Angguo's lips stiffened. She glanced at Xianyu out of reflex. Then her smile vanished. Never mind then. It seemed that Royal Princess Angguo was discontent with Yushi being disrespectful toward her in front of outsiders. After a moment, she said with indifference, "I don't know how long Imperial Consort Xian would be crying. Let's not stand and wait here. Go kneel in the shelter." Not caring, Yushi grunted his acknowledgement, turned around and left. Although she had said it unconsciously, Zhongyuan felt unhappy at the words "go kneel." Zhongyuan lightly touched Xianyu's hand. Xianyu quickly said that he had to go outside. Royal Princess Angguo nodded. Then Xianyu and Zhongyuan went outside. Xianyu had to look for the other Imperial clan members. As usual, he let Zhongyuan find a place to take a break. Zhongyuan watched as he followed the people from the Ministry of Rites, before turning around. He followed the other servants away. After coming here for so many days, he was already familiar with this place. He was dressed in the usual morning attire, extremely inconspicuous. Wherever he went, he could mix in with the other people. Shortly after, he found Yushi. Yushi was in the morning shelter that Zhongyuan had been in the other day. And he was actually kneeling. Zhongyuan looked at Yushi's back and felt like he was looking at a Yushi that was a lot younger. The 16-years-old youngster Suiyu had a pale face, a few red scratches on his face, as he knelt in the ancestral hall of the Yu family. For consecutive days, he was unable to eat or drink. That person. How could they treat him like this? Yushi sensed someone behind him and turned around all of a sudden. After catching sight of Zhongyuan, he stared blankly for a moment. "Why are you here?" Yushi rose to his feet. Looked at Zhongyuan's right hand and frowned. "What happened to your hand?" "I cut it by accident." Zhongyuan approached. He pursed his lips and asked as if he was distracted, "Does your face hurt?" Baffled, Yushi stared at Zhongyuan. Zhongyuan took a deep breath. Striving his hardest to suppress his pounding heart, he said in a hoarse voice, Can I kiss you?" Yushi was speechless. Incredulous, he looked at Zhongyuan, lip twitching. Zhongyuan snapped back to his senses. He wished he could slap himself on the face. When would his bad habit of saying whatever that came to mind once he's upset and indignant disappear? Zhongyuan feared that Yushi would call for his guards to beat him up, rushing to clear his throat. If not, then it's fine. I'm leaving. Zhongyuan retreated 2 steps, before forcing himself to explain, I didn't know you would be here. There's still 5 days left, right? I'll leave first. Yu Shi's expression worsened after he had heard Zhongyuan's words. He stared at Zhongyuan with disbelief flashing in his eyes. Can't you read the atmosphere? Zhongyuan also didn't know what was up with him earlier. He felt very awkward and bowed before moving to leave. Before he could even stand, Yu Shi yanked him over. Fidgeting, Yu Shi stared at Zhongyuan. His breathing grew rushed and brief, as if he was furious due to Zhongyuan offending him. Zhongyuan really wanted to dig a hole and hide in it, but before he could think of what to say, he suddenly heard Yu Shi fuming with rage through gritted teeth as he warned him with a chilling voice, this time, you're not allowed to use your tongue. All of a sudden, Zhongyuan widened his eyes and before he could respond, Yu Shi kissed him. End chapter.